Welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM here on lockdown Thursday here in Melbourne. Of course, let's go from Brisbane to Adelaide in particular, and of course talk with the Sturt Football Club SANFLW women's team. Of course, their season came to an end 3 weeks ago. Of course, we've got a very special guest on the show. Of course, her name's Kate. She joins us right now. Thanks, Kate, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. I guess a pretty tough season with, I guess, you'd have to play the first 4 games, then it stopped, and then it resumed again. How was it like this season for the team?
Yeah, it was a bit of a stop-start, as you said. We sort of got started with our pre-season late in mid to late 2019 and raring to go, had our Christmas break and kept our fitness up and entered the season with high hopes, and then all of a sudden in March it all came to an end. So it has felt like a very long season, if nothing else. It's been interesting.
The first half of the season was pretty good. 2 wins, 2 losses before the stop of play. I think you had momentum going into it too as well. I guess, and I know I asked 4 of your other teammates the same question, but did you feel a little bit robbed for the fact that you were on a 2-game winning streak and then COVID stopped you?
Yeah, there was a bit of that feeling, I think. As you said, we kind of came out, played two of the really tough teams at the beginning of the season, which is a bit of an eye opener, and then had 2 wins on the trot, which was really good, and the vibe was really good amongst the girls. And had that momentum, started to string some together. So it was a disappointing way for that to kind of stop so abruptly. And I guess, every club faces the same type of thing with their break, but for a team like us who really builds on confidence and we felt a bit cheated when that happened.
Now, it's a pretty young group by look at everyone on the list. I think it's almost like the second youngest team or even the youngest team in the competition. That must be a real positive sign to challenge, of course, West Adelaide, South Adelaide and Norwood, who finished in the top 4.
Yeah, that's one of the things that, for our group that has presented its own sort of challenges as well in the fact that we are such a young side. I'm probably one of the most senior players in terms of age, not experience, that's for sure. But we do have a really young side, which is incredibly positive for the next couple of years. And watching those girls develop, it's amazing to see, and it's great to be a part of their progress. But we are up against other teams who have been in the system for a bit longer than us and do have that experience that we just are lacking at the moment. But in saying that, it's all positive signs for the future, which is great. I'm just hoping I can be involved as long as possible. Hope the body holds up.
Yeah, of course. I'll talk a bit about your 2 co-captains who I had on the show, in Georgia and Maya. Tell us a bit about those 2 and how special they've been throughout for the team this year.
Yeah, we're super lucky to have Bevo and Maya captaining our side. Both the 2 of them, and the way that they work together is really impressive, and they do so much for our team on and off the field. Bevo, obviously, with her experience in the AFLW, and she brings just a wealth of knowledge, even from her background as a nutritionist. She's just got so much to offer for particularly a young side that's kind of feeling their way through what it is to be part of a semi-elite environment. So she's got a lot to offer in that respect, and that's just compounded by Maya, who's just the hardest worker that you ever come across, and just really set the standard for our squad and how we want to go through this sort of building period of developing our players. They really set the standard there. We're very lucky to have them.
Now, of course, you're one of 3 other players that are in the leadership group as well. Of course, the other 2 I had on the show, Lucy and Hannah. I guess for you, what did that mean to you?
Yeah, that was a lovely thing to be recognised at the start of the season by by the rest of my teammates. It was very special to be considered as one of the leaders. I definitely value the kind of cohesion of a squad, as well as training hard. A lot of the off-field stuff is what makes teams really, really good. And that's something that we, as a leadership group, we try and work on, is bringing that group together. And because we have the diverse age brackets, it presents its own challenges in that respect. But I feel like the group that we've got together at the moment and the effort that we've put into to making us a really united squad, it has been really great. And whilst we haven't enjoyed probably the success that we would have wanted to on the field, it's meant that we've really enjoyed the journey together as well, and we're learning and growing by virtue of the fact that we're all really close. So it's definitely a special part to think that I get to be part of that leadership group and be developing the group as we go forward.
Now, tell us a bit about, especially the young players. As I mentioned, it's probably the youngest team of the competition. Tell us a couple of the young star players we should watch out for in the future.
Oh, how much time do you have on the show? That's the real question. We just have some absolute standouts, and I'm just in awe of all of them because, I mean, if I was in that position at their age, I don't know if I would have the maturity that some of these girls do, the way that they go about their football and their commitment to playing at the SANFL level. It's just amazing. I don't think when I was 15, I had anywhere near that kind of awareness. So it's very impressive. Zoe Prowse is just an absolute standout, and you'll definitely see her running around on the big stage at some point because she is just outstanding athletic ruck woman who is just going to be a superstar. She already is a superstar. I love Tia Hoff. She is one of the youngest, if not the youngest, that we have on the squad. And she's just goes so hard at the footy and just gives her all every minute of every game. So she's a star. And I couldn't go past Alex Ballard. She is a guru of the game.
What have you learnt from these younger players that keeps you motivated to keep playing?
Oh, so much. I don't even know if some of those younger girls realise how much that they have given to me in terms of what I know about the game, because I'm still very new to it. And as I said, I would have never had that kind of insight as some of these girls do. But just their work rate is amazing. Off the field at training, the way that some of them go about it and conduct themselves, particularly during that COVID break, was really impressive to make sure they were sticking to their programs and motivating the other girls to do the same. And also because they're all so quick, it makes me have to go on a few extra runs to make sure I'm not getting cut out of the team for the younger blood.
Tell us a bit about I think it's your first year coach this year?
He came in at the start of 2019 for the 2019-2020 season, and had a few relationships with some of the other girls in terms of the local league. So he was well known to some of the girls in the squad, which makes things a little bit easier in terms of getting that kind of gel together. And I had been involved in the Sturt Footy Club in the boys comp as well, so definitely familiar with the system. He just brought a wealth of knowledge to our girls, and he knows how to coach women's football, and knew how to coach us really well. So we're very lucky to have Bruce and his team at steering the ship throughout the weird season.
Now for you, Kate, how did you get involved in footy and why did you choose it?
I started playing footy for the first time in 2018 in the local league. And I hadn't played a team sport since I finished school 11 years ago. So I kind of really just wanted to get back into doing something fun and fitness, and just found a team in the local league at Old Nations Footy Club that I went out to in 2018, and mainly just to meet new people and kind of break up the monotony of my kind of 9-to-5 work day and going to the gym. It was all getting a bit the same, so just wanted to really try something different. I'd never played the sport before, so I just thought I'd give it a go, really. and yeah, had so much fun in that first season in the amateur league, and had great success, and we won our grand final for our division for that year. And after, I think it was late in that year of 2018, got the call from Sturt to come out to their trial. So sort of only very new into the SANFLW program as well. And yeah, so I played my first year with Sturt last year. So I'm definitely still finding my feet in that respect in terms of some of the craft of the game. But it was mainly just wanted to try something new, and then, didn't realise how much I was going to like it, and how much it would form now a very big part of my life.
Now, you mentioned that obviously Sturt called you to do the trial. I guess, what did that mean to you to get a call up by one of the SANFLW clubs?
I was pretty shocked, to be honest. Yeah, it sort of came a bit out of the blue, and I always will give everything a go, and I wasn't going to knock it back. Just I certainly didn't feel like my level was necessarily there when I went out to trial at the start of 2019. But I just wanted to give it a go and see where I landed with it. But it was a very big honour to think that somebody out there somewhere in the football world thought that I might be able to do it at the next level. So it gave me a whole nother sort of another kick into gear to try it at a high level.
Now, what will be some highlights throughout your football journey? I know you mentioned about the grand final, obviously winning the grand final. Is there any more other highlights that stands out to you?
Well, my highlight reel was relatively short because I did only start in the last couple of years. But we did have a grand final win in my first year in the amateur league. And then in my second year in the amateur league, so I'm not sure in South Australia, I'm not sure if this is the same as the other states, but we played the SANFL league at the start of the year, and then players are welcome to go back into the local league to play. Okay. It ends up becoming about 9 months of football, but I did that in my first year as well. And then we played another grand final in my local league. So had a couple of shots at it. Unfortunately, we didn't get the win in the second one. But yeah, playing the finals series was pretty fun. So that's definitely been a highlight. And then taking the kind of skills that I kept on developing in the amateur league into the SANFL, just to watch my footy improve has been great.
Now, you mentioned about that. I don't think I've seen that before. Obviously, you play your SANFLW competition, then you go straight back to local after the SANFLW season's done. I guess, was it an easy transition to go back into local football, or was it really difficult, or did you get any break at all before you went back into local footy?
There isn't actually a break at all, and it's up to the individual whether you want to go and play both seasons. Because I was still new to the game, I thought, I've got enough energy to give the back-to-back seasons a go. By the time I got to September last year, I was very tired. But you can definitely tell the step between the local league and playing up in the SANFL and just the sort of general experience in the SANFL and what I was getting from some of the other players. Dropping back down into the local league, there's not that same kind of level, and I became the more experienced player in the local league. But in saying that, there's sort of less pressure down in the local league, and it's certainly fun to be a part of that kind of more kind of traditional grassroots footy, which I've wanted to stay connected to. In terms of the on-field stuff, it's a bit of a slower game and a bit not as clean as some of the footy that you watch in the SANFL.
I know that Sturt did a spotlight highlight, of course, involves you in your day job and obviously playing football. I guess, how special is that to get recognised, and especially to have Sturt do something like that? That was great. I guess if you just follow the women's team and you just come out on Saturdays to watch us play, you probably just kind of put us in the category of footballers. But we are all individuals. Unfortunately, we don't get paid to play the game, so there has to be some other things that we're all doing on the side to keep the pockets full. But so I work as a lawyer at O'Loughlin's,
which is, I certainly enjoy that, but it's a bit of a transition between what I'm doing during the day and then onto the footy field in the evening for trainings and game day. But it's great to try and connect with our members to give them the whole picture about who we are as footballers and as people.
And I guess following up from that question now leads up to my next question, which is, what does the sport of football mean to you, and especially being part of the Sturt Football Club, especially what they did this week for you?
Yeah, being a player at Sturt is, it's a huge honour. It's an excellent club. It's got a rich history, and the way that it supports its women's program is just second to none. It has such faith in us and what we're trying to create, and we've got just so much support behind us, which is amazing. Because I getting into the sport kind of later on in my life, I've realised kind of how special this is, what we're doing in terms of women's football as a whole. But I guess for the younger generation who now have the pathway to the AFLW, which when I was 15, that certainly wasn't on my horizon. It's very special to be a part of this process of developing women's football in SA and across the country. I know that I'm going to look back when I'm, in my 50s, and I already am so proud that I've been a part of the Sturt Footy Club, but also the SANFLW generally, to do my bit to push this sport forward for women, because it's just incredible the way that it's developed with the introduction of the AFLW in the last couple of years, and that it's just gone gangbusters across the country with women, young girls getting involved in it, and it's just whether other people realise it now, it'll sort of form part of your own legacy that we helped push that in the right direction. So it's a very special thing to be a part of this sport, and in its infancy really, because it's only going to keep getting better and better.
Now, what would be your advice to our listeners out there, especially in Adelaide, that should get down to Sturt and have a go at pre-season in 2021?
I guess for anyone involved in sort of any sport is particularly something like football, which is has its own critics in the women's game. Is sort of just to find what you really love about what you do and why you love the sport. Sport can be pretty cruel in lots of different ways, with injury and not winning games and not getting selected and things like that. So I guess for me, and if I was going to give any advice, it would just be to find exactly why you love the sport, or what you love about the sport, and make sure that is your focus and at the forefront of everything you do, because those challenges are going to present themselves come what may. And if you've sort of got a grasp of why you're really there, then everything else will become a lot easier to deal with. So I think the passion for why you love the sport, whether it be the competitive nature of it, or being a part of a team, or like certainly for me, it's being part of a group and being part of that team. And that's what I love most about it. And then everything else, the time trials, the pre-season running, everything becomes a whole lot easier when you know why you're there.
Now let's finish off a couple of harder questions about your teammates. Firstly, any embarrassing moments by anyone on your team, which I got a feeling I know this answer based off all the others. Now I've got a feeling this might be including Lucy in this answer.
That was the first thing that came to my mind, because that will forever be recorded and etched in the Sturt history that we can never get rid of, that she tripped over nothing during a game. So that was pretty embarrassing. I did though recall, and I cannot remember who did this, it was in either round 3 or 4 before the COVID break. And I'm glad I can't remember, because it would be absolutely throwing this person under the bus. But we were out at Elizabeth, and this person was named as an emergency, which obviously means, you're there if something goes wrong on the day or before or whatever. And this person had completely forgot to bring their uniform, boots, everything, just didn't realise they were listed as an emergency, and was sitting in the change rooms texting, trying to get all of her gear brought to the Oval, which was very funny. And I can't for the life of me remember who it was. And I know that that person wanted me to keep it hush-hush. So she's probably not very impressed that I've just gone and blown her cover on.
Now, I have to ask about that Lucy's incident one. Now, I believe my memory serves me correct, and I actually have watched the vision of it. Did she trip over on the centre square? Is that correct?
Yeah, it must have been a raised line. That's the only thing we can see, Cole. Must have just jumped right out of there.
Now, who's the comedian in the team?
Oh, I mean, Casey Fraser would like to think that she's the funniest in the team, but I think she would be slightly edged out by Jo Bautais. She's a very funny girl. Closely followed by Ali Latis. She has us all in stitches.
Now, I know by some of your teammates that you're one of those as well. Do you agree with that?
Well, it's obviously present company excluded. I'm clearly the funniest, but, you can't toot your own horn, can you?
That's fair enough. Now, of course, I have to ask this question. Who's the best singer and dancer in the team? Surely with the young group of girls that there's going to be some singing and dancing involved. So who are those best singer and dancer in the team?
Yeah, there's a fair bit of carry-on that goes along in the change rooms before game. So we get to see a bit of a showcase of everybody's talents. And they're all pretty shocking dancers and singers, to be honest. Probably the best singer... We've in the COVID break, we did spitball some ideas of getting our Sturt band together. And currently Alani Dawes is lead singer of that band. I'm actually yet to hear her sing at all. So, we have no idea whether she's a good singer. But our trip to the karaoke bar last week would suggest that Tess Maple could also be a front runner for the best singer in the squad. But it's anyone's game really. Once we've done our auditions for the band, I'll be able to give you a solid answer.
That question. Now, I'm assuming there's some pre-game songs to hype the team up before a game. If so, who ran the playlist? And in your opinion, what was the worst song on it?
Well, we did a bit of a round-robin rotation for playlists. So we broke up into groups and we had a playlist dedicated for each round. I had round 4 and I would consider that our 80s playlist was bang on. But unfortunately, all of the girls in our team basically had no idea about any of the songs that I put in there. So my playlist was voted the worst out of all of them. And I think the song that everyone hated the most was I played Sweet Caroline. And they all thought it was the worst song I've ever heard. Clearly no musical appreciation in the group. We'll work on that for 2021.
Oh, that's one of the best songs.
I know.
I'm not born in the 80s, but I love Sweet Caroline. So I think we might.
It gets the crowd going. I don't know. They must all have rocks in their head because that was allegedly a shocker.
Oh, we might have to teach them next year.
Exactly.
All these songs. Now, we'll finish up with this one last one. Now, I assume you got a play sponsor that's helped you out throughout the 2020 SANFLW season. You might as well give them a bit of a shout out.
Yes, my player sponsor is O'Loughlin's Lawyers, which is the law firm that I work at. So very lucky to have my firm on board and supporting me throughout the season. And yes, they've been very accommodating for some of the training schedules that I've had to work in and around my day-to-day work as a lawyer. So shout out to O'Loughlin's and Kim Ryder for getting right behind me.
Okay, thank you so much for getting up your time to join us. It's awesome having you on the show. We can't wait to hopefully once Melbourne gets out of lockdown that we can come over to Adelaide and watch the team in action and support the mighty Double Blues in action. And hopefully you can creep into the top 4 next season and really challenge the big teams in the competition, because obviously you did a fantastic job this year in doing so.
Yep, that's the plan. Thank you for having me. Go the Double Blues.
No worries. And that's Kate there, joins from the Sturt Football Club. Make sure you get down there next season and watch them in action, of course, in the SANFLW in 2021. There's more of the Smash Sport Show right after this. Don't go away. Here on Lockdown Thursday.